Hershey company just released their latest quarter's earnings report, and the market seems to have liked what they are seeing. We can see they're up around 2.34% on the day, now trading at around $204.78 per share. Now, the past year has not been kind to this company. We can see over the past year, down around 25.3%, but now if we look at the past month alone, they're up around 6.1%. So let's go ahead and jump into this latest quarter's earnings report. We can see they saw beats on the top and bottom line. Q1 non-GAAP earnings per share of $3.07, which was a beat by around 31 cents. That's a pretty solid beat. And then revenue came in at around $3.25 billion, which was up 8.7% year over year, and was a beat by around $140 million. Now, here's what's really important as well. They reaffirmed their fiscal year 24 outlook. Investors were really excited by that news, in my opinion. Now, one of the big problems for Hershey's over the past year has been rising cocoa prices, and cocoa prices have absolutely exploded over the past year. We can see where it was, it looks like around a year ago in 2023, and it got all the way up to where it's pretty much 6x its original prices around a year ago. Now, over the past couple of months, we've seen it dive down quite a bit, but it's still 3 or 4 times higher than it was around a year ago. So obviously this has been a major problem for the company. Let's go ahead and jump into my stock screener spreadsheet. And like always, you can download any of my spreadsheets and also get access to the ticker data add-on in Google Sheets that allows you to automatically import stock financials straight into your spreadsheet by heading over to tickerdata.com. But you can see I've already plugged in HSY right here. Let's go ahead and start breaking this down. Revenue per share was stagnant for this company for a little bit of time, but we can see over the past few years it's actually climbed quite a bit, going from $43.40 in 2021, $50.69 in 2022, and then $54.53 in 2023. So the past 3 years have actually seen pretty decent revenue per share growth. Now, earnings per share growth has actually been a different story. They've done a pretty good job. And if you look at where they were in 2015, $2.40 versus 2023, $9.09, that's pretty good growth over that time period. And the same is true with free cash flow per share. The company has been buying back shares as well, as we can see here, and the debt to assets ratio has actually been reduced over the past 6 or 7 years as well. Now, one thing that surprises me is the company actually has pretty solid return on invested capital. If we look at 2023, 25.13%. That's pretty solid, and it's actually quite a bit better than I would expect from a company like Hershey's. Now, if we jump over to the profitability spreadsheet, let's come up here, plug in HSY, and hit enter. A few things that are worth noting is the 10-year revenue CAGR is sitting at about 4.56%, and the 5-year revenue CAGR a little bit higher at about 7.5%. So if we come over here again, we can see revenue didn't see a whole lot of growth from 2013 to around 2018, but since that time, it's actually grown at a little bit of a faster rate. And if we look at the net income CAGR, 5-year at about 9.59%. I think that's pretty solid, and the 10-year sitting at 8.54%. And if we look at the gross profit ratio over the past decade, it's stayed pretty solid, and that's something I personally like to see, and we even saw a slight spike up in the gross profit ratio in 2023 compared to where it had been over the last couple of years. And then finally, if we look at the dividend metrics for this company, the starting dividend yield for them as of right now sitting at about 2.68%. And if we look at the yearly dividend payouts, they've done a really good job of increasing those dividend payouts year over year, going from around $1.81 in 2013 to $4.46 in 2023, and they're currently paying out $5.48. So the dividend hikes from this company have been very solid. We can see a 10-year dividend CAGR of 10.39% and a 5-year of 12.88%. So that is double-digit dividend growth. That's something I really like to see personally as a dividend growth investor. Now, if a company is going to be able to sustain high levels of dividend growth, we need the free cash flow growth to be pretty high as well, and they've been lacking just a little bit in that sense. The 10-year free cash flow CAGR is sitting at 6.36%, and the 5-year at about 4%. Now, if we look at the free cash flow payout ratio over time, it's in a pretty decent range, but it did spike up a little bit over the past year, sitting at about 57.28%, when in the previous year, it was much healthier at around 42.86%. So if we look at the free cash flow versus dividends paid, overall, we can see, especially over the last 4 or 5 years, free cash flow has definitely been easily covering those dividend payments, but it did climb quite a bit in 2023. We saw an increase in the dividend payouts from 2022 to 2023, while free cash flow from 2022 to 2023 was reduced. Really not a good combination, but overall, the dividends are pretty easily covered, but that's not a trend we want to see continue. So overall, the dividend metrics for this company look pretty solid, and it looks like investors were pretty excited with the latest quarter's earnings report. Hershey's not a company that I own in my personal portfolio, portfolio, but over the past year I have been watching them pretty closely, obviously due to the large price decline. But there you go, there's a quick analysis on the recent Hershey's earnings report and some of the key metrics for the company. And like always, if you'd like to be able to download any of my spreadsheets and also get access to the Ticker Data add-on in Google Sheets that allows you to automatically import stock financials, then you can head over to tickerdata.com at the link in the description. So with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.